My solicitor had given me an appointment after the 10 days cut-off time. So for the next 10 days I constantly chased him up to make sure he had put my appeal in. I also contacted Mr. Rave from the Allianz Insurance to make sure my appeal was lodged. I didn't actually trust that it would be, but it was my human right to appeal. When I eventually got a meeting with the solicitor after the 10 days, all he kept saying was I could get a different solicitor if I wanted. He must have said it 4 times. I had my son Harvey with me as a translator and a witness. I was really not trusting that this guy had my best interest at heart, especially after what he had said in court. I was sort of ignored and told to be quiet a number of times. He didn't want to answer my questions. Twice I got up to leave, but was persuaded to sit back down. I finally got to ask a question. What was the time of death of Mr. Dupont? 10 p.m. was Raposo's answer. My response: so you haven't looked at the police witness reports that clearly state from at least 5 people that not one saw Mr. Dupont alive, all saying he did not appear to be breathing, and even one of the witnesses, a pompier, stated they thought he may have had an heart attack. That's in the police witness statements. And you sit there and tell me 10 p.m? I got up and said, "We are off, Harvey." As I stood to leave, Mr. Raposo had a big pile of my files, probably as tall as a 2-litre bottle, if not taller, on his desk, and he raised his hand and slammed it down on top of the files, stating, "Madam Walker, there is nothing in there that will show you are innocent." My reply was, "You know who Bob Marley is?" Raposo nodded his head. "Well, listen to his song, Get Up, Stand Up, because half the story has never been told." And as I hobbled out of his office, I thought to myself, you can fool some of the people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all of the time. I had signed a letter from Allianz to say I wanted a different solicitor, one that could speak English for my appeal, but I heard nothing back from them. This big, all-singing, all-caring, all-doing international insurance company, Allianz, just ignored my signed document. They did nothing. It was as if I was swept under the carpet, their duty of care to their paying customer non-existent. The fact that Mr. Raposo had gossiped how bad I was at court in 2019, and how I was aggressive, here's that word again. It must be a textbook word you have to use to try and discredit a person and hide the truth. Is client confidentiality not being honoured or carried out because I got to hear this from Sandra, the office worker at the Allianz office in Partney? Nice, very professional, Mr. Raposo. I was never offered another solicitor, though I had signed a document to say I requested and needed one. Be careful which insurance company you choose to have your back. Allianz, in my case, did not live up to all its wonderful PR and sales pictures. They totally abandoned me and their duty of care that they were legally bound to. Now I had to represent myself, so I needed the big pile of files that Raposo had aggressively, I may as well use the word too, slammed his hand on at our last meeting. The information he said that wouldn't prove my innocence. Okay, let's see what's in this massive pile of nothing. In the years I had now been exposed to this French justice system, I realised that it was far from just, and they had the cheek to have an insignia in the courtrooms and on the police uniform, showing a balanced set of scales for the justice they so efficiently provide. Really? Is that what it symbolises? Who are they trying to kid? How very bizarre and ironic. And I took the heed from Albert Einstein's wise words. Unthinking respect for authority is the greatest enemy of the truth. Every encounter I had with authority was only proving Ernstine's quote time after time after time, and it wouldn't even stop at the appeal court. Seeing as Allianz had abandoned me, though I was still paying them monthly for the privilege, I needed to get the documents to prepare for my appeal. I had very little given to me throughout the years, though requested, and the little I had was all in French. On the 11th of July 2019, I sent a signed-for registered letter to Cabinet in Brisouire, addressed to Hugo Raposo. On the 12th of July 2019, I got the AR form back from La Poste. The game was now about to start. I had realised in January 2017 in my police interrogation that some sort of dishonest game was being played. Now in 2019 I had more understanding of the way these games were played. With their arrogance and their egos plus the stolen power, they never thought anyone would actually challenge or question the rules of their games. So they panicked and were desperate. The lies got bigger and they exposed themselves with more clarity, the smoke and mirrors becoming clear and transparent. The hole they had dug and pushed me into, they were now forced to jump in. By now I had painfully, determinedly crawled and dragged myself out of the dark, evil abyss and was behind a wall of safety. The wall built out of integrity and truth. A wall unavailable for them because they just couldn't stop lying. So they would never be able to get out the hole, trapped by their own lies and cover-ups. Due to staffing shortage, they had not had time to prepare the file. Prepare the file? All that was needed was for them to carry the pile of files to reception and I put them in my shopping bag and that's it. Why did they need to be copied? He was no longer involved in the case. This information coming from the receptionist, we all know how they can be. I requested that I speak to Raposo. He arrived and said a load of bull and that if we returned on the Friday the 26th, it would all be ready for me. Okay, thank you. We will return on Friday. Is that a good time for you, Mr. Raposo? I politely asked. Yes, was the reply. Round 1, game on, mess them about, piss them off and tell lies. They will eventually go away and give up. Don't underestimate me, Mr. Raposo. I am a Libran and from Yorkshire. Round 2, 26th of July 2019. We arrived. This dismissive, self-important receptionist presented me with this thin file and a paper to sign, all in French, which I believe stated that I accepted what they gave me. Harvey explained that we needed all the files. She said, that's it. I looked through the thin file, which she was trying to hide below the counter. I reached down and got it, and I looked through it. There wasn't one photo. I asked, where's the photos from the police? Then she got really nasty and said something like, we can't afford to print all that out. I said, you don't. Just give me the originals. This case is no longer Raposo's. Well, she went off on one. Then you should have brought a USB. My response, why didn't you tell me that? She continued with her cocky tone, we have sent you the files via your email. No, you sent me blank pages, was my reply. She then started pointing her finger at me. I thought, why am I talking to a receptionist? I said, I'm not talking to you. You aren't even a solicitor. I would like to see Mr. Raposo, please. Her answer, you can't. He's at the New York office. That summed him up. Make an appointment when you are not here so you can hide. My small female dog Peggy has more balls than you. Okay, I said, I'm going to sit in the waiting area until you get me all my files. I went to sit down. She followed me into the waiting area, shouting some bloody abuse, pointing her finger at me again. I said, I am not talking to you, go away. Then she got Raposo on the phone, who requested to speak to Harvey, not me. I was quite pissed off by now. I said, Harvey, don't speak to him. He wants to trap you. He can speak to me. But he wouldn't speak to me. I wonder why, coward. Then this woman appeared, a solicitor, I think, and started throwing her weight around. I said, it's quite simple. Just give me my files and I will leave. Her superior sounding voice said, you can't have it. You have to be a solicitor. I thought, these people have studied the law for years. My informed reply was, no, I don't. OK, you sign and date a statement saying you are refusing to give me my files, which I am lawfully entitled to, and I will leave without the files. But for some reason, she wouldn't do that. Why not? Then she got angry and aggressive. That word again. But she did. I was at the other end of it. And said that she would call the police. I said, do you think that scares me? Call them, and I will tell them that you are refusing to give me what I have a legal right to have. Call them. I will sit here and wait for them. Yes, you guessed it. Funnily enough, she never called them. You see, weak bullies can only bully and usually lie. When you stand up to them, you expose how weak and pathetic they really are. I requested a piece of paper and pen and started writing. She was now ignoring my existence and asked Harvey what he was doing and why I was writing and why I was taking so long. I said, because I have only one hand and I can't write so good with it. Then she wrote down some address, if I had a complaint. They set up these complaint procedures by the very same establishments and people you are complaining about. It's part of the game. The average person doesn't really have any human rights. If you dare to question the rules of these powerful, controlling establishments, you are given the runaround and usually have to stand alone. This is what I wrote on the sheet of paper. Penelope Walker, date of birth 7/10/64. I arrived to collect my files on the 26th of the 7th, 2019. The information was at the office in Briswear, 79308 Briswear. The file offered was not complete. No DVDs, photos or other information which I asked for and needed. I asked them to sign a piece of paper saying that they would not give me the full number of files which I had a right to under the Equality of Arms Act. This is the second time I have been to collect my files. It must be noted that I am representing myself and not using a solicitor. They acted unlawfully, unkindly and threateningly. I then signed and dated it. This was a record for me because I was in the game that could be, shall I say, untruthful. But the bullying had given me an idea. I will go to the police. They are breaking the law, not giving me what is lawfully mine. Let's see what these enforcers of the balanced scales of justice do. It's what the badge that's sewn on their uniform displays. Surely they must believe and honour what it stands for: equality, fairness, and a person's rights. Or are all these rights a smokescreen to keep the masses quiet in their place, unchallenging and swimming in an ocean of injustice?
Get up, stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up, don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up for your rights. Mr. Get up, stand up, don't give up the fight. Preacher man, don't tell me heaven is under the earth. I know you don't know what life is really worth. It's not all that glitter is gold. Half the story had never been told, and now you see the light. You stand up for your right. Get up, stand up for your right. You Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Most people think great God will come from the sky, take away everything, make everybody feel high. But if you know what life is worth, you would look for yours and hers. And now you see the light. You stand up for your right. So get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. You get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. We're sick and tired of the hism schism, up then and go to heaven in the hism schism. We know and we understand Almighty God is a living man, and you can fool some people sometime, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And now you see the light. What you gonna do?